of a priori algorithm like frequent pattern mining that we will see in today's class. Okay. So what is this a priori algorithm? Why we are making use of this a priori algorithm? Okay. Association rule mining. Okay, is going to be the topic, and association rule mining. Inside that, we are going to see a priori and FB growth. In the last class, we have seen about a priori algorithm. Okay. So what is the concept behind this a priori algorithm is we are going to find the most frequent item sets which can be placed together in case of a supermarket or which can be recommended in an online store. Okay, so in order to make the market basket analysis, okay, if you want to improve the overall customer purchase patterns, okay, you can go for this frequent item set finding. Okay, so the rule that we do have in this a priori algorithm is we will find those frequent items based upon the minimum support. What is a minimum support? Minimum support means in the given set of transaction database, your items need to be identified in any number of transactions. Okay, it should be minimum in n number of transactions a particular item should be available. For example, I have 10 transactions. Okay, in the 10 transactions I'm finding milk and bread. Okay, it's going to be the two items which are available in 8 transactions out of 10, which means I could find 8 customers are having the same pattern of buying both milk and bread. Okay, so this is how you can fix the minimum support, which means out of 10 transactions, minimum 4 or 3. Okay, I'm just giving you some random minimum support value. It should not be very less. Okay, if you're keeping the minimum support as 1 means there is no use of running this algorithm. Okay, you should make a minimum support in such a way that you can identify some frequent item sets. Okay, so if I keep the minimum support as 4 means out of 10 transactions, at least 4 transactions should have the transaction history of buying both milk and bread. Okay, so that is the minimum support. So based on this a priori algorithm, you will find out the frequent item set, okay, and you will generate the association rules. Okay, so this is what we have seen in the last class. You will be given a transaction database and you will be given the minimum support. You see over here, they have given the minimum support as 20 as 2. Okay, 2 is the minimum support. Okay, so how to find out in person? If you want to find out the minimum support, okay, it will be usually it will be given in your minimum support. Okay, so and then minimum confidence will also be given to you, which means 70%. Okay, finding out the support and confidence we have seen in the last class. Okay, so now given a minimum support and confidence, how to generate the frequent item set using the a priori algorithm. So what you will do, first you have to initialize with the one basic item set. That is one item set, you have to generate the frequent pattern. Okay, so if you look over here, item set I1 occurs 6 times, I2 occurs in 7 transactions, I3 occurs in 6, I4 occurs in 2, and I5 occurs in 2 transactions. Okay, so this is going to be the item and the what is the number of transactions which we can find out the item sets. Now we have to check whether these item sets transactions are satisfying the minimum support. What is the minimum support? At least in 2 transactions you have to find these item set. Okay, so all these transactions are greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so we do have the one item set frequency pattern as 67622. Okay, so this is go with respect to one item set generation. Next item set generation is why it is. Can you understand? It is I6 is I1 is 6 means you just go through examine your your list of items, you see I1 occurs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So totally in 6 transactions we have where it is. In 6 transactions we have I1. I2 is occurring in 7 transactions. So you have to count the number of transactions. Okay, these item sets are occurring. Okay, and then the first step is over. The second step is generating 2 item set frequency pattern. Okay, so how to do that? You take the combination of L1 joined with L2, which means the first list and the second list. How to find it out? We'll just go back over here. Okay, so you just take all the combinations I1, I2, I1, I3, I1, I4, I1, I5, I2. So in this way, you take all possible combination of two distinct item set. It should not be like I1, I2. Sorry, it should not be like I1, I1, I2, I2. That is not a distinct set. You take the two item set which is distinct. Two item sets should be distinct. Okay. So now if you look over here, now you see what are all the transactions which have this combination. Okay, I1, I2 together. Okay, I1, I2, I1, I2, 2, I1, I2, 3, I1, I2, 4. So I have 4 transactions. You just go back. I have 4 transactions which have the combination of I1, I2. What does it mean actually? The customers who bought the item set I1 also buy the item I2. Okay, when we are examining our transaction database, 4 transactions, okay, 4 transactions can be identified where the customer who bought I1 also bought I2. Okay, so in this way you find out the number of transactions which involves these 2 distinct item sets. Now what is the next step? We have to find out what are all the item set which are satisfying the minimum support. What is our minimum support? At least in 2 transactions we should have. Okay, so you remove the transactions which are less than 2. Okay, which are less than 2. You just remove all these transactions which are less than 2. Okay, so now filtering out the remaining transactions, we get a new 2 item set frequent pattern. Okay, now it is all these item sets are going to be satisfying the minimum support. Now the next step is we have to generate the 3 item sets. So they have given the given some steps which are going to be theoretical part. Okay, I'm just giving you what is the step which is involved here over here. Going to the 3 item set. Okay, you take the combination of 3 item sets. Okay, which do exist in our item list. Okay, if you take all the combinations I1, I2, I3, and then I1, I2, I5, and then I1, I2, I4, you take all the combinations. For certain combinations, there won't be such combination of item sets could be identified in our table at all. You see over here, you can see like I1, I2, I5 is there. Okay, I1, I2, I4 is there. Okay, 3 item set. I1, I2, I3 is there, and then I1, I2, I3 is there. Okay, you can even go with I2, I3, I5. That is also going to be available, but its occurrence is only one. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are satisfying the minimum support also. Okay, so if you look over the 3 item set, okay, here we are doing this right. I1, I2, I3, I1, I2, I5. So these are all the item sets which could be identified with the transactions greater than 0. Okay, so some of the transactions are going to be greater than 1. Okay, because some transactions are only 1, anyhow its support count is going to be 1, so that it will be anyhow it will be deleted. Okay, so you just take the item sets which could be identified with the minimum support which could be satisfied. You see over here we have I1, I2, I3, I1, I2, I5. If you look over here, okay, even we can go for some other items also. I2, I3, I5 also you can take. But its count is going to be 1. You can even write it over here. That's not a problem. Okay. And then we have I1, I2, I5 which occurs 2 times. Here it is available. And then I1, I2, I5 it is available here also. So 2 times. But we look into here I1, I2 and I4. It occurs only 1 time. This is occurring only 1 time. Okay. So if we are writing out all the item sets now, if we look over here, just go back. Okay. So if you look over this example, the item set I1, I2, I3 is giving the support to, and I1, I2, I5 is satisfying the minimum support to. So this is going to be the item sets which are going to be identified to be the frequent item set in the given transaction database. Okay. So now in API algorithm, okay, your algorithm is going to have 2 steps. One is join step and another is prune step. Okay, what is join step? You are joining it like this, right? One item set, and you are joining with the 2 item set. Okay, inside this 2 item set, what you're doing, you're just identifying some of the items which are less than the support, and you are removing those item set, right? That is called as pruning step. Okay, so join step is nothing but you're going to generate the n item set, 1 item, 2 item, 3 item. What you're doing, you're joining the item sets and you're finding out the support value. Okay, and then once you're identifying some item sets which are not satisfying the minimum support, you're deleting it. Deleting is otherwise called as pruning. Okay, so this is the 2 item set, 3 item set. When we go for a 4 item set, if you look over here, its count is going to be only 1. You see over here, we'll go for 4 item. What is the only 4 item set which is available? You see over this I1, I2, I3 and I5. So this is the only one 4 item set we can join. Okay. Now what is the number of transactions which have I1, I2, I3 and I5? Only 1 transaction. But our minimum support is 2. Okay. So we cannot proceed with this algorithm furthermore. So we will stop with the 3 item set. Okay, so now how to with this we have we are going to stop over here. Okay, we are going to stop over here. Now what is the items, what is the frequent item sets? It is going to be I1, I2, I3 and I1, I2 and I5. Okay, so we have identified the frequent patterns, frequent item sets. Now the next step is we have to generate the association rules from this frequent item set. Okay, we have to generate the rules. Okay, we know the combination I1, I2, I5, they will bind together. Now we have to make a clarity that what is the condition upon which the items can be bought by the customer. Okay, so how to do that? We have to go with the combination of rule 1. Okay, what is the condition that I1, I2 to bought together? You find out the confidence. Okay, how to find out the confidence? You have to find out the support of I1, I2 with I5. Okay, see over here, what is the combination? Combination that I1, I2, okay, implies I5. I think they have given it here as a small circle. Okay, it is actually what is the chances that I1, okay, and I2 is bought together implies that the customer will buy I5 also. Okay, so what is our first item pattern that we got actually? Where it is? See over here I1, I2, I5. Okay, so you just look into this I1, I2, I5. Okay, I1, I2, I5. Okay, I1 and I2, what is I1, I2, I5? You just find out the support divided by the support of I1, I2. Okay, so you just find out the support value can be identified from the previous tables. Okay, support of I1, I2 and I5. You just go back here. What is the support of I1, I2 and I5? The value is 2. So that is the support. Okay, what is the support for I1 and I2? You just go back. What is the support of I1 and I2? It is 4. It is 4 actually. Okay, so 2 divided by 4, it is going to be 50%. Okay, it can be rejected because our minimum confidence value is equal to 70%. See, for this given combination I1, I2, I2 and I5, you have to find out the confidence. That confidence should be greater than 70%. Okay, so we are rejecting this particular association rule because the people who buy I2 and I1 and I2, the chance of buying I5 also, the confidence is only 50%. So we can reject this. Now we'll go for next combination. Okay, so I1, I5, these two items are bought together implies what is the chances of buying I2? So you find out the confidence for that. What is the formula for confidence? Confidence is equal to support of your LHS union RHS divided by support of your LHS. Okay. So support of I1, I2, I5, the value is 2. What is the support of I1 and I5? Please go back and see 1 and 5. 1 and 5 the combination is having the support value 2. Okay, so you just apply over here. 2 divided by 2, it is equal to 100%. Okay, so this particular association rule can be selected, which means the customers who bought I1 and I5 together have the highest chances to buy I2 also. Okay, but at the same time, the customers who bought I1 and I2 together, they have only 50% chances of buying I5. Okay, that is the inference that you have to identify from this resulting association rules. Okay, next you go for the third rule. What is the third rule? The chances of buying I2 and I5 together, okay, implies I1. Find out the confidence, we are getting 100%, which means that the customers who buy I2 and I5 together have 100% chance of buying I1. But this is having, it doesn't mean that they doesn't have the chance. 50% means only 50% they have the chance of buying. It doesn't mean they do not have the chance to buy. Okay, but here our confidence percentage is going to be 70%. Okay, so our confidence should be greater than 70%. So we are rejecting it. If our confidence percent is just 40% means what will happen? Surely this will get selected because this is greater than 40%. Okay, so this is another rule. This is another rule. Okay, in this way you have to generate the association rules for the frequent item sets. Okay, we'll go for the next three set. This is one item set, right? I1, I2, I5. What is the other item set we have? I1, I2 and I3. This is another three item set. For this also you have to generate the association rules. Okay, so how to do that? Just go back. I1, I2, I5. Okay, so if we go for some other associations, they have find it out to some random associations. Okay, they are generating one rule. Okay, people who are buying I1, what is the chances that they can buy I2 and I5 also? Okay, they are going with the other rules. You see, they are getting 33%. This is rejected. The chance of buying I2 provided they are buying I1 and I5. Okay, the chance is 29%. So this is also rejected. This is rejected. I5, I2 and I5. I think this is the same thing we are getting here. No, I1. Okay. So they are finding out the confidence. Okay, it is going to be 100%. Okay, so if you look over our previous step, what is our previous step? We have generated this three item set. Okay, Now you go for this particular, I think they haven't shown in the PPT, you have to do it, okay? You just take I1, I2, I3, okay? For this three combinations, you find out the association rules. How to find out association rules? I1, I2, I1, I2, okay? Given implies I3. You find out the confidence value for this. Okay, in the same way, you just take I2, I3 given I1. You just take all the combinations and find out which association rule is giving you the maximum confidence. You take all the combinations the same way as we have done in the previous step. You find out the confidence for these combinations also. You can generate n number of rules can be identified because we have several combinations for here. You take all the combinations and find out which combination is giving you the value whose confidence level is greater than 70%. Okay, such a combination of item set, okay, that rule can be identified as the association rule. So, dear students, what we are doing here is we are identifying the frequent item set. From the frequent item set, you are identifying how the items can be used to form the association rules. Okay, so this is actually the rule which we have generated. You see over here, the rules are, okay, this is 100%, 100%, right? R2, the second, just take the second rule. Okay, I1, the customer who buy I1 and I5, okay, I5 together has the 100% chance to buy the item set I2. So this is the rule that you have to generate. The same way we have rule 3 we have, and then we have another rule 6 we do have. Okay, so this is also giving 100%. So these are all the strong association rules which can be generated using the a priori algorithm. Okay, so this is one method. Okay, we'll see some of the advantages of this. Okay, so this is going to be simple and it will be apply for some huge data sets also. This a priori algorithm will do. Okay, and then even for some partitioned database also we can apply this a priori algorithm, and we can apply some big data techniques in order to consolidate their results. Okay, so this is the method where this a priori algorithm is having some advantages. Now, without using this frequent item sets, okay, we can find out the association rules. Okay, we can do it, and we can find out the frequent patterns using another method that is called as FP tree structure. That means frequent pattern tree structure. Okay, frequent pattern tree structure can also be used. So what is this frequent pattern tree structure? Okay, so you see over here, once again you will be given a same transaction database, and the list of items will be given to you. Okay, and then the minimum support will also be given to you. Now what is the result is, you have to initially find out the frequent item set which are sorted in the descending order of the support count. That is the first step you have to do. Here also we are going to find out the frequent item sets, but without using using the candidate pairs. Okay, so join and prune step, we are going to make use of the FP tree. Okay, so how to draw this FP tree? Okay, so you take the item set. Okay, transaction database is given to you. This is the same transaction which is available over here. Previously, which was given here, that same transaction is going to be available here. Okay, now what is our initial step? You just take the item sets. Okay, for each item set you find out the initial one item set support. So I1 occurs in 6 transactions, I2 occurs in 7 transactions, I3 occurs in 6 transactions, I4 occurs in 2 transactions, and I5 occurs in 2 transactions. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to sort this entire item set, L1 item set, okay, in the descending order of the support value. Okay, so which item set has the highest support count? I2 has the highest. So I2 and then 7, 6, 6, 2, 2. Okay, so that is the initial step that you need to do in case of your FP growth. The set of item sets are sorted in the order of descending support set. Okay, so that is the thing that we have done here. Okay, I2, I1, I3, I4, I5. They have been sorted based upon the minimum support in the descending order. Now what we are going to do is we are going to construct the frequent pattern is see here, we have to construct this FP3. Okay, you see over here, we have to start with the initial item set. Okay, I1, I2, and I5. Okay, just I1, I2, I5. Okay, so you have to sort the support count, and based on that, you have to start with it. Which item set has the highest count support? I2, I1, and then I5. Okay, in that descending order, you have to construct the FP tree. Okay, so your FP tree will start with a null. Okay, so you just go with the first transaction. Okay, we do have I1, I2, and I5, which has the highest support. I2 has the highest support. See here, I2 has the highest support. So it should be I2. You just make the, whenever you are encountering the item in your tree, you just make it as 1. Okay, item I2, its count is 1. What is the next item which has the next highest, next support count? I1, because it is going to be 6. So I1, its occurrence in the tree is 1. What is the next item? I5. I5 has 2. So I5, its occurrence in our tree is 1. Okay. What is the next it is done with that. Okay, you can start from the left. Okay, once your left tree is getting filled, you can go for the right. Okay, and the next transaction is I2, I4. Okay, I2, I4, which has the highest value? I2 has the highest, and then I4 has the next lowest value. Okay, now you just check whether there is any node in the tree which already have I2 over there. So already we have I2 here, so you make use of the same node I2. In the right, you just make the given, just make the node, this node as I4, and you make the count as 1. Okay, just make the count as 1. Now you have to update this I2 as 1 to 2. Okay, and then I2 is done, I4 is done. Next transaction is I2 and I3, which has the highest value? I2. So I2 is already here. Just make the counters, just go through this particular tree. Okay, from 2 it is going to be 3. Now I3 is there. Is there any node with I3 here? No, there is no such extension. So you create a new branch as I3 is equal, I3 its count is 1. So in this way you have to build for the entire transaction. Okay, so this is a very simple FB tree that you have to construct initially. The next step is, okay, you have to connect that given node with the item set. Okay, it is very simple. You just connect it with 12 is there, so you just connect it over here like this. Okay, and then I1 you just connect it over here like this, and then I3 you just connect it over to this I3 here, and then I4 is there, you just connect it over where you can encounter I4. So in this way you just connect all the nodes. Anyhow, our tree is very important. Connecting with this node link is not that much important. Okay, now the next step is, for this FP growth you have to perform 3 different operations. First is, you have to start with the item which is having the least support count. Okay, which has the least support count? I5, and then I4, and then I3, and then I1. Okay, in this way you have to come up with the item set with the least support count. Okay, the maximum support count you can ignore that, because that will be obviously getting included in our frequent item set, so we are ignoring I2. Now the next step is, you have to find out the conditional base pattern from your FP tree. Okay, so in order to reach I5, okay, what are all the nodes which needs to be traversed? Okay, you see over here, you have I5 over here. Okay, we have I5 over here. What are all the nodes which needs to be traversed in order to reach this I5? I2, I1, okay, and then I5. I5, the count is 1. Okay, so I2, I1, we don't want to write I5 explicitly, because this particular conditional pattern is based, its base is I5 only. I5 is the base. For reaching I5, what is the pattern? What is the condition pattern? If a person buy I2 and if a person buy I1, it is obvious that the person will buy I5, the count is going to be 1. Okay, that is the condition based pattern. Next, you just see for any other item, I5 is there. Okay, we do have I5 over here. We have I5 over here. So if a person buy I2 and then I1 and I3, he will buy I5. Okay, that is its count is 1. Okay, so this is going to be I2, I1 and I5. So its count is 1. Okay, so in the same way, you just do it for I4. In the same way, you just do it for I3. In the same way, you just do it for I1. Okay, I'll just traverse I4 here. Okay, where is I4 is here? I4 is here. I4 is over here. Okay, in two places. So one of the I4 is like this: I2, I3, and I4. It's 1. Okay, and then here one I4 is there, I2 1. Okay, so it is going to be I2 1. For I3, if you look over here, you see over here we have one I3 over here, here we have another I3, here we have another I3. So 3 different I3s is there. So 2 1 2, 2 1 2. Okay, and then another value of this I3 is 2 comma I2 comma 2, I2 comma 2. Okay, in the same way, another I3 is 2, 2, we have it like, we have 1. Okay, I1 and then 2. Okay, so I1 comma 2. So in this way, for I1, we do have I2 comma 4 we have. Okay, so you just write out the pattern based upon the given item as the base. Item is going to be the base. Based on this item, you are going to find out the conditional pattern. Now the next step is you have to find out the conditional FP pattern. Okay, what is this conditional FP pattern is? You have to check for what is the occurrence of the item with respect to the base item. You have to consolidate it. Okay, for I12, okay, for I12, what is the number of occurrences? I12 occurs 1 here, and then it is occurring in another path over here. Okay, another path over here. So its conditional value is going to be 12 comma 2. Okay, 12 is going to be 2. Okay, and then look for 11. Okay, look for 11. Its occurrences here in this path, it is occurring one time, and it is occurring over here in another time, and then its count is going to be 2. Okay, now if you look for I3, the occurrence is going to be only 1. Okay, if you look back and see into our question, okay, the minimum support they have given over here is 2. The minimum support should be 2. Okay, so in order to look over our example, okay, it is not satisfying the condition. So I3 comma 1 is going to be the conditional FP tree which is associated with 15, sorry, I5. But here I3 is having only the occurrence 1. So we are checking with the minimum support. It is not satisfying. So we are ignoring the conditional FP tree. Okay. So in the same way, you just make it out for all the values. So if you look over here, I2 is going to be 1 comma 1 plus 1. It is going to be 2. For I1, it is only 1. It is not satisfying the minimum support. So we can ignore that. Okay. So if you look over this example, see here, I2 value is 2 and I2 value is 2. Okay. So this will happen with respect to the left side of the tree. This is with respect to the left side of the tree to reach I3. You see over here, we have I3 over here, and then I3 over here, and I3 over in the right side of the tree also. So if we look into the left pattern, okay, if you look into the left side, okay, we have two I3s are there. In case of the right side, we have another I3 over here. So in order to make the balance of both this left and right tree, we are going to consider the left side of the tree as one single. This is actually a condition pattern FP tree rule that we have to follow it. Okay, so you just look into all other examples. All the item sets are available in the left side only. If you look into the I3 alone is available in both the left side of the tree and also in the right side of the tree. Okay, so in such case, okay, we have to balance it by making I2 is available here 2 times. Okay, and it is available over here as another 2 times. You just make it as I2 is available 4 times. Okay, I2 is available 4 times, and I1 is available over here as 2 times, and I1 separately it is available over here, right, in the left side of the tree. This can be identified again. It is available as 2 times. Okay, its support is going to be 2 times. So in this way, you have to generate the conditional FP tree over here. Now the next step, okay, what you have to do is you have to find out the frequent patterns. So how to do that? It's very simple. I will just consolidate with this and we'll wind up the class. You have to join with the generated conditional FP tree with the source item set. See here, we have I5 over here and then I2, I11, I1 over here. So now you have to join it, like, okay, I1, I5, and then I2, I5, I1, I5, and then I1, I2, I5. In the increasing order of your um, support value, you have to generate the item patterns and you have to find out its count. This count can be identified from this FP tree, or even if you have doubts with this pattern, you just go through this table, and even you can find out the number of transactions where we can find out the item set. Okay, so if you get confused with how to generate this from this item, if you're just writing it as 0 as 2 or 1, if you are mistakenly, if you have been getting some wrong answers if you're trying this FP growth, you just go look back your table and you can find out the number of transactions which we have this item set. So I2 and I2 and I5 occurs in 2 transactions, I1 and I5 in 2 transactions, I1, I2, I5 in 2 transactions, and then you just combine with I2 with I4. We have only one combination, I2 and I4. Okay, and then if you look into I3, we have I2, I3, and then I1, I3, and then I1, I2, I3. So we have 3 combinations over here. So you find out the number of support. If you look over the table also, you can see how many transactions have both I2 and I3, how many transactions have I1 and I3, how many transactions we do have with I1, I2, and I3. Then with I1, we have to combine with this source item set with the current FP value I2. So I1 and I2, the number of transactions that we do have is 4. Okay, so if you are looking into this given FP tree also, you can find the same answer. Okay, for I2 and I4. Okay, both together to occur, what are all the transactions that we do have? See this here, I2, I4 we do have. Okay, and then we have I2, I4 over here also we have. Okay, so and then is there any other transactions where we have I4? So 2 transactions are going to be available. That is what which is available here. So the number of this support count can be validated either from your given question, okay, or even you can validate it using the tree branches also. You see, if you look into I2, I1 and I3, you can find out 2 branches are there which will have the combination of I2, I1 and I3. But here the drawback of this FB growth is we can find out the frequent patterns. But once again, if you want to fix the association rules, you have to go with the a priori algorithm only. Okay, so this is the drawback with this FP growth. This is also a way you can find out the frequent patterns. Okay, so with this we can wind up our today's class. Dear students, so we have seen about association rules, rule mining, and in the next class we will see about some web usage mining concepts, and we will continue with our modules. Okay, so you can type in your register number and you can leave the class, or if you have any doubts, Please unmute yourself and ask for doubts.